Alright. Gameplay. StarCraft. Trap. TY. In the bottom right-hand side, our blue Protoss player. This is a Trap. As we do have to the top left-hand side, our red Terran. TY. Alrighty, so first map of this best of 3. I'm really hoping this the series that starts saying, you know, this is it. This is where this tournament, this group heats up a little bit, because so far, let's be real, it's been a little bit too 0 heavy. You know, TY has taken down Ragnarok, Trap has taken down Estrella. And so both of these currently at the top of the group. Obviously, we've yet to see anything from Cure today. We'll have his matches a little bit later on. So yeah, TY versus Trap. First map of the best of 3. I'm just going to be seeing Trap bringing the probe out toward the upper left-hand side. Across to see what's going to happen. So there it goes. Just a little bit of scout information. This first probe can always be so annoying in a PvT because obviously you already started to nibble away at this SCV and, you know, you're just making life difficult. Terran has to pull a worker just to deal with that. It's kind of crazy, right? You pull a worker and you actually just have to leave, like, I guess you don't have to leave it on the probe, but by the time you, like, send your SCV back to mine, you basically have to bring it back over again once more. It's kind of crazy. Can I turn up the background sound and music a little bit? Sure. Absolutely, if you need it. I might have accidentally knocked it off where it was meant to be because I had a little bit of audio issues earlier today, so let me know if it's a little bit better now. As we do have our command center dropping down. Factory building up and again setting up here on Simulacrum for this first map. TY and Trap really played each other quite a few times as of late. They play in a lot of online cups against each other. They played a great series in the WSG qualifiers back in December, which I casted, and that was kind of the start of then seeing them play a bunch of times. As the Reaper just comes down, and we will see this probe taking a few shots, will go down. So Reaper able to get the probe kill. Tonight, any further information, in TY going straight to the bunker on the low ground. Now, the Adept is pretty quick to come across the map here, so is absolutely looking to try apply some pressure here. The Reaper will stay at home as we have a couple of Marines not on the way out. Actually going to go reactive Hellions here. So Hellions in the early stages of this, going to start that up as we do have the Adept shading by towards the front and just going to be seeing, well, SCVs. The 2 SCVs combined are actually putting themselves in pretty good spots to deal with this. The CC will finish without any real delay. And the command center morphs into an orbital. Now 2 Adepts together will set up at the front. Reaper takes an opportunity to go across the map as some other units here will be able to defend these Adepts. Reaper wants to get across and try and pick up information, but now he sees 2 Adepts. He's actually going to pull that Reaper back. Adepts actually shade up into the main base, gets an SCV built in the starport, and his first Hellion goes down. 1 Adept remaining and will be able to reach 1 SCV kill as well. So that's 2 workers down in total. Adept back down to the low ground and out of there alive. So only 1 Adept lost here overall. As we're going to be seeing the Twilight Council dropping down. And that is going to be our tech choice here from Trap to follow up. Now, he hasn't built anything other than Adepts yet. And going in towards Phoenix production off the Stargate kind of says that we're going to maybe seeing something like, maybe like Phoenix Adept. We've not really seen much, we haven't seen much of that before, really. As you do see this Oracle sitting around the front, the couple of Adepts here around this right side trying to see what's going on as well. Viking building up on the starboard here, and a couple of extra Widow Mines on the main base as well, also getting built up, also getting ready to go. That blink coming in on the Twilight Council, the 2 extra gateways dropping down, and again our Hellion pulling back toward the upper left-hand side with 3 Widow Mines coming across towards the bottom right as well. So 3 Widow Mines to drop in the main base. It will in the end just be blink. And the Stargate was just a Phoenix and a Oracle, so didn't really commit into multiple Phoenix like I was sort of saying, which could have then been maybe Phoenix and Glaives. So just 1 Phoenix, 1 Oracle. Meanwhile, we see the blink starting up here from Trap as well, so that's already underway, and these few Widow Mines actually unloading. I'm not sure what was seen to really say that you needed to drop those Widow Mines off already. So yeah, those Widow Mines off to the side, the Nexus dropping down. I'm just going to be seeing that command center from TY building up in the natural as we see 4 more Widow Mines as well. Kept the factory on the reactor for a very long time, which means you're missing a lot of the kind of ground-based defense you might usually have. But obviously a lot of potential to kind of really come in and deal damage. So maybe these Widow Mines, he was just waiting for air units to kind of see this medevac and be like, oh my god, I'm going to get it. And then you went into Widow Mines and it's a little bit too late. So going to be seeing the medevac one move in. As the Widow Mines in the main actually got 6 probes. Didn't expect that to go in out of sync with the Widow Mines here. They're going to start unloading as well, as they actually all will get burrowed and they will connect on some of these stalkers. Finally, the blink comes through, but 15 probes go down. That one on the bottom right, it's big time, and TY gets some major damage done with this Widow Mine drop. 15 probes down now. This was more than just the kind of typical starting up Widow Mine drop of the game, because this was obviously, you know, 7 Widow Mines, so it was more factory time utilized. And it is damage done a bit later on, but look at the defense from TY. He has 1 tank up, couple bunkers as well. He knows the threat of what Trap can do right now, as Trap needs to deal some damage. He's down 11 workers, so he's absolutely looking to get in here and, well, achieve, you know, get something done. Blinks up here, gets an SCV to start tank in the main, though, and now the Stalkers can't really go too much further forwards. Now, there's a round of Adepts that will shade into the natural, and there's not really much defensively on the natural expansion. He's going to lift up one of these tanks, will blink in for the other one. Auto turret will come down there. The Adepts did indeed commit, but they're not getting too many SCVs in all honesty. And the Stalker count not doing too great either, as you can see Trap's desperation to really find some damage in all of this. Viking and a few more Marines coming in. Those Adepts will continue to take some hits. 9 SCVs down as the Adepts shade back away down the left, and the Stalkers are back in the main base. A couple more SCVs going down. Actually gets the Widow Mine on the top side as well. So Trap doing okay, but he is playing from such a deficit in the first place anyways. That's not exactly a... You know, he's not exactly survived this just yet, really. I mean... Oh, he's not exactly done enough, right? I mean, he's down... I guess he's now up in workers, 56 to 48. But he's also kind of... I just feel like there's a lot of army right now from TY, and while Trap has been successful in dealing some damage, it's cost him a lot of army supply to deal that damage. And if TY gets across the map when Stimpack is done or so, that could be really dangerous. However, Trap moving in towards Storm very quickly, and that could be a fast Storm, and that could be something to catch the Terran player off guard. If you don't know Storm is there, a couple High Templars show up and you're not expecting it, that can always be an issue, right? If you know, it only takes 1 Storm to ruin your day, especially when you're playing a very Marine-heavy army already. 1 or 2 Storms, when everything is clumped up, can absolutely turn things around. So let's see what TY can do if he goes for a push. He will be behind on upgrades. The +1 attack also finishing from Trap. So Trap does have a lot of little things that should help him out here. And already no fear at all for him just going into a 4th base as well. So he will not slow down for that. And as we see the rest of this army back up towards the top. Marine's able to take down an Oracle there, and as the scan comes over to the far right-hand side, I'm seeing a few probes just mine that 3rd base. The scan is really important because you're looking for the army, but what you do see when you don't see the army is the gases, and that tells you as TY that this is already a teched up game from Trap. He's not going for like a major bust on 2-3 gases with like a ton of gateway units. He's looking to tech, he's looking for opportunity, and that gives TY maybe the safety to move out onto the map. Maybe that's what triggers him to say, actually, I can come forwards a little bit here, because you're not waiting with 10 warp gates of, you know, Zealots and Stalkers ready to jump on me the second I move away from my 2 siege tanks. So it's a really nice scan in that sort of sense, as we do see a few Zealots to the top side. This Raven comes around, and we'll see those few Zealots. Meanwhile, 2 Adepts got by into the back of the natural expansion, and the Raven just pulls back as well. We'll look for a bit of a different way across. I think at this stage, the Raven, it's kind of very hit and miss, because especially against Templar, the feedback, it can go down and be pretty much nullified right away. So do you just send it across the map to auto turret harass? No armor upgrade just yet, by the way, and those Zealots are really painful. You can see that quickly they fall against the +1 attack upgrade. I mean, now the double forge is rolling around as Ghost Academy comes up, and TY will be looking to move in towards those EMPs to give him coverage against the gateway units, to give him coverage against the Storms. But of course, he will not have enhanced shockwaves right away, so that's something you'll have to work on here and survive without for at least a little while. It's a decent Storm as TY not really committing much into this. Going to send a few of these Marauders forwards, try and catch a couple Stalkers. Blink back saw a mixture of success and failures, as there's the auto turrets across the map. Actually targets down 2 High Templar. And this Raven going to get a couple probes to go along with it, and maybe even the cannon. I mean, that's actually not bad at all. So the cannon will go down as well. The Raven has a pretty good time, although just sort of left there. We'll see if it's actually going to be brought back into play. It might even make it back home. If you make it back home, get some energy back, can obviously make an attack like that again in the future. And this Trap definitely still struggling after those early probe losses right from the very start of this game. It wasn't looking great for him, as we'll see the Bio Army coming up and a couple Zealots going down. And TY playing very slow, very safe, getting his own 4th base ready to go. No enhanced shockwaves just yet, as he does go into his first ghost, but he's also getting Vikings, so he's already very well prepared against the Colossi production, which has just recently started up from Trap as well. So Trap trying to switch up his tech choices and his splash damage especially, but TY seemingly very prepared for it. And TY's starting to push right now and see what he can do. Obviously that Warp Prism still has the High Templar inside. The scan here is really nice, because the scan is basically allowing TY to see where that Warp Prism is. And knowing where the Warp Prism is means you can position your Vikings to try and intercept it and try and stop that from successfully getting a drop-off. Because right now the High Templars are doing okay. One goes down, Storms are dropping. I was just looking to see what that blue dot was across the map, and there's the Zealot just harassing and supply depot, nothing major. TY not sending everything forwards, knows that if you want to fight the main majority of this army, it's going to have to pull through choke point. Has a nice EMP, still no enhanced shockwaves, so still doesn't have the EMP radius buff. And that's kind of a surprising feature, as these Colossi already taking some damage. The first few Vikings getting some shots off. Now the Warp Prism will go down during the fight. No, actually he leaves it alive to then focus on the Colossus instead. Stalkers and High Templar from the top side, and those flanking Storms are the biggest issue. Couple of EMPs coming down towards the end here. The Bio Army looks as though it will still stand strong, as the flank end from Trap was good, but TY seemingly still had too much anyways. Continuing to fight here for a little while longer, as we do have reinforcements showing up as well. Widowmine's about a beat here, and he was such an entrenched position from TY that even the flank was not able to make enough of an impact, even with some very good Storms in there. Now Trap might survive because of that flank, but the game is still looking to go TY's way overall. Worker count's very good across the board, has a good army supply to work with too. TY will back away, he will not continue pushing. He was pretty low HP on a lot of his bio units, and as long as he's pretty low HP on these bio units, you obviously want to back away, heal up, and then get ready to go again. As this army of Trap moving out into the center of the map, coming over to the left-hand side. 4th base from TY down, morphing into a planetary. This Widowmine should clean up the Zealot right away, so shuts down the Zealot, which at least gets the scout information from Trap's point of view. 2-2 upgrades each, although +3 attack from Trap, so those Colossi really will be quite powered up here. If you have any High Templar on the map, we've got 2 of them, but they're way back at home, so any attack in the next moment or two is not going to be featuring Storms, and obviously that is pretty rough. Couple Vikings, SCVs moving around. Army of Trap out on the bottom. And we do see TY hanging around in the bottom left as well. A couple extra Zealots warping in. These few extra Stalkers coming through. Where's Trap gonna go? And he looks as though he definitely wants to fight now. TY's obviously been sat back a while. The thing is, TY sat back. I'm not sure how much better it's gotten for him. Is a Warp Prism again survives long enough to get the 2 High Templar off. At least it does go down. So as the Warp Prism goes down, the one benefit you really have as TY is that now the Warp Prism can't warp into the fight. Trap definitely getting the better end of this. A lot of those SCVs in the low ground in trouble. A big counterattack here from TY. A Warpin just came down onto this base. I wonder if you can actually just go up into the main base instead. This Nexus will be sniped, and then you could probably just lift in the main. He actually looks as though he's going to keep fighting anyways. Vikings trying to get rid of the Colossi. That's the issue. This splash damage is hard to deal with at the moment. Another Viking just runs into this fight. Doesn't really try and stay away. TY is going to end up typing GG as Trap. Just takes a really good fight. TY's harassment across the map doesn't do enough. Wow. Trap is just able to turn this around and pick up a game 1 here in this best of 3. As you do have in the bottom right, our blue Protoss taking game number 1. This is Trap. And in the top left, our red Terran TY. I kind of thought he'd back away, get some healing, and then move back on the map. The issue is he kind of backed away, didn't do much. He sort of talked about Trap building up, getting some High Templars for a while. And what did TY really do in that time? Like, the Viking count didn't increase much. He didn't get enhanced shockwave start until very late. And that is the issue I think that TY really fell into. Because his army was never really amazingly designed to fight the Protoss, right? Like, enhanced shockwaves wasn't there. The Viking count was never good to just take down Colossi super quickly and super effectively. And when you're missing those couple of issues, when you're missing those couple of things, it does make the larger fights that little bit tougher. And I think that's the thing. You kind of back to when you gave Trap a chance to take a good fight, where you don't really have a proper response for yourself. It's pretty rough. Hey, thank you so much. First of all, SE Boy, you pass on to Taobao.com for the $1 donation. And also, thank you so much to Casually Jane for the Jonathan is sexy as hell gifted sub. Thanks for the gifted sub. The memes continue, huh? Cybercore before the Nexus here from Trap gives him some aggressive options right from the start. As you will see, this SCV making its way down to the lower right-hand side. So SCV coming across will move up in toward the main base here. I'm just going to be seeing the Reaper from TY going to be finishing. Depth of track chrono boosting out. Nexus about halfway done. And the SCV of TY moving in from the upper bottom right hand side, going to come back up towards the upper left. Again, Factory going to be building up here, Command Center dropping down on the natural. Nothing too crazy just yet, as this probe really does just hang around in the bottom left hand corner, so that's just going to be waiting to see what is up. Stargate building on that natural as well. So just having, I mean, interesting place for the tech choice of the Protoss player, right? I mean, I guess what's the likelihood of the Reaper moving in towards the natural? Pretty low, I suppose, but yeah, kind of funky as right now the Reaper is scouting around to try and see what it can find anyways. Hellion from TY, that's a scouting Hellion as well, right? You know, it A, helps against the Adept or so, but B, it can go across the map very quickly, and as it goes across the map, it can absolutely get in, see the Stargate, just in case the Reaper doesn't get the information you're looking for, so building up here in the Starport, then about to finish, and we'll see TY going into Widow Mine, so looking as though he'll just go Medevac and the Widow Mine drop. And if he sees the Stargate, obviously that might change to be something a bit more focused towards defending Oracles, such as going in towards like a Viking is obviously very good in those kind of scenarios as well. Reaper does get in, sees the Stargate, so there's the Scout, and this Hellion doesn't even bother diving by, because at this point you've already seen the Stargate, you already know what this is. Second Oracle will start as well. So Trap going to go pretty Oracle focused for the moment, not going to go into those Phoenix. A lot of the, especially European players, like to go like multiple Phoenix for kind of a defensive setup and obviously help them move in towards the mid game. Trap just going to go Oracle number 2, and there is the Viking on the way. So again, the Viking much more safe in terms of a choice here when you're playing against a Stargate. Really gives you coverage against the Oracle, etc. So good coverage here. A couple of Widow Mines are spread between each mineral line as well. And TY shouldn't really take any major damage in any stage of this. This should just be pretty regular for the moment. As you do see those few Marines able to take down the Adept on the ramp. So that will go down. In fact, you're going to swap over to Attack Lab, Barracks to a Reactor, and we do see the Widow Mines now with a Medevac. We'll finally go across the map, so while it's a little bit late, it still will be a Widow Mine drop. And if the Phoenix are 2 actually building, so you actually just start to go into those Phoenix like I was just mentioning. Some players like to build into a few Phoenix to help you out defensively, and again, help you transition through to that mid game. So actually starting to see a few of those now after Double Oracle. This means you're very committed to Stargate units here, though. And obviously being very committed to Stargate units, it means the rest of your tech is very delayed. So the Forge just starting now in the Twilight. But you don't really have much else apart from the Stargate units for a while, as the Widow Mine drop comes into the natural expansion and gets 2, 4, 7 probes. So that hits, and at the same time, the Viking, the main base, gets 3 worker kills as well. And that's just been a good little combination of an attack here, using those units, which, again, initially you need defensively. And then when you don't need them as much defensively anymore, you can just use them to attack. 10 probes killed, and TY will find good early game damage against Trap. Some really good early game damage against Trap, as we do have the Twilight Council now building in the main base as well. So like I mentioned before, that's finishing, so you can get charge and +1. +1 armor should be the priority here if you're going to go charge as the opening, which is kind of expected after you've built kind of Phoenix. You don't need as much, don't need the blink for the map control as much as you would usually. As the Phoenix come in, a couple of SCVs will already start to go down, so first SCV dropping here, Phoenix dive in, Raven gonna be targeted, will go down at the cost of 1 Phoenix. I don't think that's too bad because of all the things the Raven can obviously bring into a game. Nice to get rid of that. Oh, the Oracles though, they fly into the Widow Mine. And this Oracle has just been... Well, I was actually convinced this Oracle was just given up on by Trap, and eventually he brings it back. It was kind of a weird moment or two, so both the Oracles will fall. As now the Temple Archives in the main base going to be building as well, so getting that set up and going. We'll see another supply depot on the front. These Marines joining together, and the Temple Archives about halfway done for the moment. The extra gates coming into play. A couple Phoenix just out over to the far right. The Stalkers in the center. And these few SCVs of TY, they're going to go up to that third base and mine away a little bit as the Phoenix still coming through. Marines and 2 siege tanks to try and stop those Phoenix. Committing into far Marine coverage is good, and yeah, there's not really anything to break this from Trap just yet. And he will very quickly again just take these extra gases, go up to Storm and tech choices. He's not been playing these kind of heavy gateway styles, which we've seen so much of as of late. In fact, the PvT meta has typically been moving around, 8, 9, 10 gates, 3 gases, and being very aggressive and then transitioning. But this is more so just taking those gases right away, setting up and building up, and just going from there. Storm will complete +1 attack. On the way down is the Robo Facility coming up in the natural expansion as well. 1-1 upgrades from TY. Also in this natural, as we will see these siege tanks unsieging. The Marines and the Medivacs joining up together, and again, army from Trap coming out onto the map. I mean, you have pretty good map control with this. Storm is done. He's looking to try and catch a Terran army as it comes across, try and slow it down, force up a siege. Anything to buy yourself a few extra moments, right? Time is always going to be your friend when you've got upgrades ticking, etc. As TY continues down. Obviously, I mean, time also gives you a bit more chance to get a couple extra high temple ups, some more storms available. It's a nice scan out to the side, actually sees where this army is. TY is going to come straight down, and that Nexus is going to die. This pylon goes down, the Nexus is going to fall very quickly afterwards. A few Zealot Stalkers and High Templar thinking about maybe coming in towards us. The tank sieging up already. And a couple of Widow Mines getting burrowed, going to connect in, and those few Zealots don't do much at all, as we do have the Zealots jumping in, and this Ghost Academy taking quite a bit of damage as well. So the Ghost Academy looks as though it might go down. The Zealot getting picked off as well. And the Ghost Academy will indeed fall. And we have got a couple of Marauders still chasing this. And the Zealot's being chased away. And there's now High Templar. Very nearly goes down, not quite just yet. I mean, TY is very similar to the last game, right? It's kind of an entrenched position that Trap is struggling to break. He's going to try and go for it in a moment or two, and this is going to be it right now. These Widow Mines, pretty important to get rid of some of these Zealots. The faster you get rid of these Zealots, the more bio you're going to have left over to fight the rest of whatever Protoss has. And you have to back away here. Trap spending some money behind it. I mean, what TY was missing this time that he had last time around in that sort of defensive position was the fact that last time he had some Ghosts and some EMPs. And that helps you to kind of sit there and trade so much better. I mean, Ghost Academy's on the way, so we are moving towards that. He's also getting a couple of Vikings help zone out the War Prism in these fights. Army down in the south, as we will see our War Prism continuing up to the top. CV will fall, as again the rest of this from TY up on the top side. War Prism with a few Zealots might want to move in toward the main base, and we do see a 4th Nexus from Trap building at the front here. Second Robo Facility, Robo Bay coming up. The 4th Nexus dropping down, as we do see the Zealots starting to unload in this War Prism. Shut down by the Vikings, so the Zealots get in, but there's no warp in beyond that, so actually these few Zealots are very easily dealt with, and that's a very minimized attempt from any sort of War Prism pressure. I mean, this really slows down any potential damage there, so TY Well, now he's going to have to get defensive on the front. Again, he added on these ghosts, and he didn't actually go in towards the enhanced shockwave, so he doesn't prioritize that upgrade, which is very strange to me, because the enhanced shockwave upgrade is amazing. It does so much for you. Like, the difference in EMP radius in that is actually a little bit crazy. As the army of TY moving around in the center. Maybe still looking to come down the right as well. A couple of, well, that was a bit of an EMP, but also some really nice feedbacks. And actually, a lot of the ghosts out of energy now as the disruptors are being used. So it's actually not Colossus as the follow-up here from Trap. It will be the disruptors added into the composition. And as the bio moves down the right-hand side, we do have a little drop on the bottom left as well. So that's really nice. These Widow Mines are going to get a bunch of damage done. I don't like where Trap's trying to go with this army. This left-hand side pathway is not very easily utilized. It's very choked up. And now you see a drop across in towards the natural expansion, and this is getting out of hand. These few Marines over here are going to be dealt with, but there's nothing to fight this in the natural expansion. And I mean, you can maybe even be able to get this Forge. He's actually just going to go for the Nexus. I mean, a straight-up Nexus kill is obviously always great. Gets the Nexus. He's going to get the Pylon to deny +2 for the moment. I don't think you actually get the Forge though, right? He's going to start targeting it a little bit, splits away from a Disruptor. The Forge is so low as 13 probes have gone down in all of this. He's targeting forwards, 4 disruptors. He doesn't have the damage output. I mean, still crazy damage done here by TY. The Nexus kill, the probes that were taken down over here on top of that to start this all off. And yes, a lot of bio goes down, but even just, I mean, the delay on the +2 is just nice, right? Slows down the cleanup a little bit as well. Obviously, that will still finish. We are 2-2 against soon to be 2-2 as well. A couple of Liberators sieging up, helping to cover this front area, and there's just not much here from Trap. 2 High Templar, no Warp Prism in play. 3 Disruptors are, yes, scary, but very manageable when there's only 3 of them and there's not really much else supporting. Rocks go down as some extra Liberators will siege across the top side of this. Army of Trap wants to come out over to the left-hand side. TY pulling down to the south, and, well, Liberators going to siege up again. Big storm on the bio and the ghosts. As we do see those Liberators, I mean, doing a lot here initially. The Vikings trying to land in amongst this as well. I mean, TY has so much army out on the map. That's his issue. He's going to start bringing this back from the bottom right now. Is it a bit too late? Like, I mean, he lost a lot here because of this. Now he's going to come up. He needs to get rid of this Disruptor, which he does. These Immortals are in some trouble. These Disruptors are in trouble too. It is going to be okay for TY, but he made that more dangerous than it needed to be because of the position of that army out of location on the map. In the end, TY is able to tie this up 1-1 in our best of. As we jump into the right-hand side, 3 o'clock position to start. We do have our red Terran player. This is TY representing Triumphant Song Gaming. And in the top side, 12 o'clock position, Trap, our blue Protoss, has definitely had troubles against the early aggression in this series so far. What's up, Shemsy? How you doing, buddy? Long time no speaks. 20-month resubs says, hey, fella, don't catch your stream off in a moment due to work or sleep schedules, but you're top lad, you still have my sub. Cheers, mate. It's like I had a blast at IEM. Yeah, it was great. It was a lot of fun. Thanks so much, dude. I appreciate it. I'll come on Discord and chat sometime. Thanks so much for the resub. Appreciate it, as we have got our game setting up here on Purity and Industry. Game number 3. Deciding map between Trap and TY. These guys currently both top of this group. And now tied up 1-1. The winner of this will stay undefeated for the moment. Of course, we're still yet to see a bit more from Kua today. We've still got a long way to go. We've got over half of the group left after this series. So we've still got plenty to come. As we do see the SCVs chasing after that probe. And the probe is going to come down to the low ground here. SCV going to chase it down. And the Reaper on the way out from TY as the Nexus drops down from Trap over in the natural expansion. And TY will just come all the way out across the top side, scout through the natural and into the main base. So yeah, TY getting a good little scout in here. Obviously not much to really be seen at this stage. Just you're double checking there's going to be a Nexus down. You're double checking there's going to be, you know, nothing too crazy, right? You're just making sure you're able to set up normally. Purity and Industry as a map in itself is obviously kind of interesting with all of this, you know, air inhibitor zones, but in general, there's shorter air distance. I feel like warp prisms are very frustrating on this map. You don't know which direction they're going to come from. They can come from, you know, while slow, they can come from any direction, right? So they're difficult to zone out, etc. The same can be said about the Terran drops, though, right? So there's a lot to think about. And I also think if the Terran can get over here in like a tank push can absolutely siege and do some serious damage to what is a Reaper wall off here. You know, coverage into the natural expansion. It's not short to push across this way, but it's pretty one-dimensional, so you can get across pretty easily usually. So you see the reactor finishing up on the barracks. The factory is building a Hellion. That will be completing shortly. And the starport on the way up in this main base as well, as we do just have the probe of trap out the front of the natural expansion. The Reaper here from TY it's really checking around for any sort of potential scout information. The probe is actually going to be left alone by the Hellion, and the Marine actually comes out to kill it. And again, it's this Reaper-Hellion combo, and it's just looking for scout and info. Hoping that you can maybe run this Hellion by with the Reaper to get some info here. And as the Hellion's going to take the focus, the Reaper will get by into the main, so it's just so difficult to deflect this. And you will scout the Stargate and build in Phoenix from the start as well. So this time, it really is going to be that Phoenix count built up early. And really going into that from the get-go rather than wasting any time at all on potential, you know, like, I guess just like Oracle production, which we saw in the last game, and then a few Phoenix to join with that. The Viking will come out with the Stargate. So again, TY being very cautious here. We'll continue to build Widow Mines. Now, a lot of the time, actually, if you can figure this out, what is great to do is go Tech Lab, and you can go like Cyclone Viking, and that can actually turn into like a Marine Cyclone Viking push. And that aggression can actually go very well for you as the Terran player against a Phoenix opener, because there isn't a lot of damage output in this army. They have to make sure to warp in a lot of gateway units to survive something like that. That's a nice Widow Mine connection. You have to make sure you warp in a lot of gateway units to survive something like that, and obviously, in general, you can then, you know, during a defense, even target down the Phoenix and stop them from being a harassing unit further into the game as well. As you do see the Widow Mine is nice. It doesn't kill anything, but it does zone the Phoenix out a little bit. It's a first little bit of damage, so that they're that little bit weaker. It's nice, as now in the end we did just see the medevac, and actually we're going to be seeing a double Widow Mine drop here. The second medevac is building up, so we're going to be seeing even more Widow Mines, very similar to what we saw in the first game. 7 Widow Mines dropping in total. So one of the builds that TY obviously just likes to pull out here in the Protoss versus Terran matchup. Just one of these options to kind of, again, the double Widow Mine's not something you see all the time, so going to be just a little bit different there, as that's a pause from Trap. He did have some lag issues earlier, so I wonder if he's just going to be lagging here again. Yeah, hopefully nothing too major. Looks as though he probably was. That's usually what happens. As we do see our players ready to resume.
Game resumed.
And we go back into it here on Purity and Industry. So 4 Widow Mines around the top. Widow Mine drop into the natural. This one's going to commit in because I think you want to already start pulling the Phoenix out over here. Because obviously I think in this scenario you're kind of really hoping that the Phoenix are kept busy and out of position so this medevac can get through and actually drop successfully itself. And here we go, and the Phoenix absolutely not here and trapped. Will start to respond, but he's pulling all the way through the Widow Mines. He's not going to take a major connection. An unburrow and an attempt to reburrow there doesn't work very well against Phoenix, quite frankly. As we will see, only 5 probes killed. So Trap off to a better start in this than he's had before. And as TY desperately going to try and save this medevac. Viking will show up, but just didn't make it back through those slow zones in time. The Phoenix able to catch up and will be able to take that down. So moving into Colossi now, a very popular way to go from the Phoenix, of course. The Phoenix give you good support. They allow you to get the Colossi up quickly. One thing that's interesting is obviously pretty late forges with this. You will be behind a bit on upgrades, but it's actually a pretty late engineering bay from TY as well. So he's also not been focused on upgrades here, as he has got the 3rd CC ready to move out, and then all of his barracks behind it. He did get stim up already, and then as he goes double reactor, triple tech lab in total here, I think we should just have the rest of those upgrades coming through. And TY realistically able to set up in a position now where he can come in and do alright. Another Widow Mine drop actually did okay. This Widow Mine drop is going to try and set up. They're caught by the Phoenix and not a single one will go down. So this time the Phoenix weren't out of position going to deal with the left-hand side drop. And because of that, That's obviously an issue. At the same time, the Viking actually picks up 3 more kills, though, so a few extra probes going down. And Colossus production continuing here on the natural expansions. We will see the Phoenix from Trap back out to the bottom right-hand side. So he's actually going to come across with the Colossus as well. And is TY really prepared to deal with this? I think TY's issue is that he spent so much time building Widow Mines on the factory. He doesn't actually have anything to really help defend here. You know, he's been missing a lot of the production that would actually help him fight off something like this. He's on a lot of Marines right now, and he just doesn't really have a way to properly fight the Colossus. And hence the Colossus is having a pretty good time. I mean, a Viking or 2 show up, but there's 5 Phoenix here to support as well, which is obviously very problematic in itself. A couple of Vikings firing. The Phoenix try and join up with this, and there's back and forth on this missile turret. And now the missile turret goes down, but there's a siege tank here, so it's bought time. 6 workers fall in the process. TY definitely not looking super great just yet. I was going to see him just cleaning out these rocks here. Now we do have the Phoenix into the main base. They'll chase down a Viking, lift up a Marine. Siege tank there as well. Going to focus on these couple of Marines coming up the ramp for the moment. As we do see those Phoenix going to escape out through the center of the map, so they're going to pull back up towards the top side. The rest of this army from Trap coming down toward the bottom right-hand side. So the Phoenix harassment will continue. Missile turret are still going to come out on the edges, so again, helping to give some coverage across the board here. We're going to be seeing the Warp Prism get an extra High Templar in play, make that a couple. So a couple of High Templar coming down, and again, extra couple of Zealots, couple of Archons, the Immortal. All of this now moving out into the middle of the map as well. Marine comes in pretty quickly, turns those Phoenix around. Phoenix picked off pretty quickly there, and again, the rest of this from Trap still moving over, and going to pick off 1 Marine to start. A Warp Prism takes a little volley from Marines and a Viking. And here come the Phoenix pressing in. We're going to see a couple of tanks lifted up. Phoenix getting shut down pretty quickly here. The Bio Army pulling back a little bit. I mean, the tanks defensively helping a lot, and the Colossi will go down here. If the Colossi are down, is there a way to fight those Archons? Can these Marines do enough? I don't think so. They don't have any attack upgrades to help out, and obviously they're just on their own, so the splash damage is going to start catching up to them as Trap pushes in, and Trap will take this series 2-1 as he cleans up TY. Trap 2, TY 1, and Trap picks up another win to stay at the top of this group at the moment. Trap continuing to look real good.